All four have deep ties to CD2. Democrat Gary Jones, a geophysicist who grew up in Cochise County and now lives in Tucson.
I had the great pleasure to grow up and go to public schools in Douglas, Arizona, K through 12.
Republican Cammie Quist, who owns a restaurant near the University of Arizona.
I was a stay-at-home mom for a while, and then once my son got school age, became school age, I started with small business.
Republican Ed Biggers, who moved to Tucson in 1983 and climbed the ranks at Hughes Aircraft Company.
I ended up being the president of the Hughes Missile Group, and I serve as advisor to the engineering school at the U of A.
And Debbie Hickman, an educator and chairwoman of the Cochise County Democrats.
I spent a lot of time teaching in Sierra Vista and doing enormous amount of other work too.
Now for opening statements. All four came to the debate, supporting their party's candidate. The night didn't change their minds, but it gave them an opportunity to explain their differences.
The Democrats don't decide, the Republicans don't decide. In this district, the people in the middle decide. So I think the task for both Ann Kirkpatrick and for Lea Marquez Peterson is how are the people in the middle hearing their message?
Issues they see making the biggest impact all varied, from minimum wage hikes overburdening small business.
For small business, I think we need somebody in Washington that has a voice, and I feel like Ann Kirkpatrick is just, I hate to say this, but a Pelosi patsy that's just going to write checks off of government money that has nothing that will help me as a small business owner.
To a recent sewage line break in Mexico that spilled over into Naco, Arizona.
It's a situation, I mean, I know they've had Martha McSally down there once. She did a photo op. She left. She said, oh, I'll help you fix this. Never another word. The other day, somebody talked to Gail Griffin, who is one of the major players down there in the LT-14, and she just said, oh, this is a Mexico problem. No, it's not. Mexico is not having the problem. The problem is with in Arizona now, and it's a health problem, a very serious health problem.
Other concerns included slow economic growth in southern Arizona.
And even though the tax bill that got passed was called for the rich man, what that tax bill did was create lots of jobs for lots of people, and it's just beginning. The result of that is just beginning. Now, I just spent time yesterday with my tax advisor, and I would say I'm in the upper tax bracket, and he showed me my projection for next year under the new law. I didn't save any money at all. So that many large deductions got eliminated. So that was not a bill for the upper tax bracket. That was a bill to help businesses create jobs in there, and it's happening. So I see that as a major thing for the economy of Tucson and southern Arizona, because the economy has not been good in southern Arizona for a long time.
I think it comes down to really two. I've spent the last 2 days at the St. Pius Church working with the migrants that have just been released by ICE. With no notice and helping to process those folks and move them on to their families. So comprehensive immigration reform is part and parcel of a border security package. The second major issue, in my view, is climate. Ann mentioned it today. There's another hurricane. I was organizing dispatch for dozens of families, migrant families, towards points east. They all got canceled today because of the extra hurricane that is hitting the South Coast today that jumped from a tropical depression to a Category 3.5 hurricane in 3 days. This never used to happen.
Let me jump out of the district, if we will, and talk national for a moment. Do you all, as voters in a purple district, as you all have said, view this election, this midterm election, as a referendum on the Trump presidency?
I think the midterm election has always been a problem for the party in power, and I think more so this year because of the president and his behavior. I voted for President Trump because I supported I wanted to see tax policy changed. I wanted to see Supreme Court justices that would be similar to my view of what they would be in terms of how they viewed the Constitution. But I think that President Trump has behaved in such a way to increase the the level of hostility that happens to be existing in the country, and I think yes, this that will be tested in this election.
A key aspect to think for all people in CD2 to think about this year is what should the Congress do in the next session over the next 2 years. And I think one of the key functions is to hold the administration accountable. And that's best done with the Democrats in control of Congress.
I feel like there's so much partisan Democrats versus Republican, it's your fault, that if I run my business the way Washington is being run currently with all the fighting, that nothing gets done. So I guess I just feel like it's extremely important to get out there and vote. But I'm the opposite. I feel like if the Democrats get in, you know, we might as well move to Canada. Honestly, under Obama, it was awful. And in the last 2 years, I disagree with you. I think Trump has opened up the small business. I think we've been able to hire more employees. I've been able to open a second store.
You know, Obama had the most horrible beginning, not because of him, but because of that horrible crash. And he had to build that up slowly. So it's not surprising that you and other businesses were struggling then.
You all are involved in the community, be it through work with a church, private businesses, small businesses, education. What do you tell people about what's going on right now? And as private citizens, is there anything you can do individually to reach out and maybe get rid of some of this divide?
I would love to have a discussion and hear your side of things. And also, I haven't run a huge business like that, but I have to run my business.
Right.
And for you to hear how the minimum wage affected me, what we had to do, our costs and our struggles, because that's how I think you're really going to bridge the gap and become a community.
There are some things that the Republicans and the Democrats can really work on together. And there needs to be immigration reform. And I'm frustrated that there's not immigration reform. I'm frustrated with the DACA thing. I mean, it makes no sense to me that somebody say, well, we need to ship those people out of the country.
Ms. Kirkpatrick and Ms. Marquez Peterson, thank you for answering our questions. Thank you for taking the time to run for office.
On this night, no one changed anyone's minds, but they did find some common ground.
What I hear a lot is just a kind of callousness on the part of any issues like that we find just, you know, ridiculous and abhorrent.
I agree with you.
And I need to hear more Republicans who are saying what you just said about DACA. It's atrocious.
I totally agree. I totally agree as well.
And I just want your voice to rise because your leaders in Congress are not saying that. I can guarantee you.
Leah knows how I feel about it, and she agrees.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know. Yeah, that's excellent.
I think just respect. I respect your opinion, I respect your opinion, and I think we all should respect each other. And I think that there's good things on both sides.